So as you see right here, this is week one's outcome. A lot of home game victories. I'm going to get into kind of, this will be my week one impressions and my week two predictions. I'm kind of sad to say my Tigers are already pretty much out of the running again, just like last year, unless they somehow run the table. However, Florida State, that looked great for their offense. Our defense kind of just shut down in the fourth quarter. And, I mean, what can you do whenever your offense isn't really there? You know, so I understand, the sentiment. And I definitely understand the competitive nature of the game, and it's kind of just heartbreaking for my season, but it's part of the game. Maybe we do run the table and go have a shot at the playoffs after we beat Georgia, but I don't think that's likely. Anyway, Notre Dame held off Navy, like I said. Jacksonville State beat UTEP. I don't remember where I went in that game. I don't know who I said would win here. I think I said UMass, but that is who ended up winning. San Diego State. Vanderbilt beat Hawaii, like I said. USC beat San Jose State. Louisiana Tech beat Florida International. I believe I picked that too. Georgia State beat Rhode Island. Picked that. UCF beat Kent State. Picked that. Wake Forest beat Elon. Also picked that. Western Michigan beat St. Francis. Picked that as well. Also picked this. This game was surprisingly close. Like, NC State, I thought, I ranked them being pretty high this season. After this game, they're going to be pretty low on my list, man. They struggled with UConn. Anyway, Missouri beat South Dakota, predicted that. UAB beat North Carolina A&T, beat that, or predicted that. Minnesota beat Nebraska, predicted that. That game was a lot closer, and it was one of the better games of Thursday. That Florida game wasn't shit. Speaking of those Thursday games, Utah beat Florida, predicted that, and that game was pretty sad. Tulsa beat Arkansas Pine Bluff, predicted that. Arizona State beat Southern Utah. Eastern Michigan beat Howard, predicted that. Michigan State beat Central Michigan, predicted that. Miami beat Miami of Ohio, predicted that. Louisville beat Georgia Tech, predicted that. And this was also a closer game than I thought it should be. This was so close throughout most of the game. It was back and forth there for a long time. Kansas beat Missouri State, predicted that. Stanford beat Hawaii. Again, Hawaii is one of the worst teams in the country. So they're going to lose a lot of games. Northern Illinois upset Boston College. Big oof for Boston College fans. Don't worry, we got our big oofs this week too. You already heard about them. Liberty beat Bowling Green. Good for Liberty. Oklahoma beat Arkansas State. They just ran them into the dirt, by the way. Might I add, Oklahoma and Oregon were just mean this week. Like, they were just mean-spirited with their wins. I want to say Oklahoma's was 73 and Oregon's was 73 as well. And Oklahoma had Arkansas State got 17. And Oregon shut out the team they played in week one, which was just so rude. We'll probably see theirs later on. Fresno State beat Purdue. They upset Purdue on the road. What an upset. What an out-of-conference upset. That was a really good one. Then Louisiana Tech lost to SMU. So this is getting into a lot of the week 1 stuff. That game could have went either way. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that game. It was they did get absolutely obliterated in it, but in my mind, that game could have went either way. I think SMU has an excellent football team, and I think they showed. Kind of the power of it in that game, and that is going to be something that I'll assess going forward as we go, deeper and deeper into the AAC season, the American Athletic Conference. Anywho, then we have Colorado upset TCU. I'm going to take my lumps here. I did not think that was going to happen. But I do understand that TCU only returned 3 starters from last season, and they don't have a ton of talent built up. Most of the time, this team is not great, and it's a very, very young team. Along with a lot of these guys from Colorado are transferring in, and a lot of them were in college beforehand. So a lot of these guys are way more experienced. But at the same time, good coach game by Coach Prime. And I don't think TCU ends up anywhere higher than 6-6. But Colorado may end up in a bowl game this year, which would be a far cry from what they were last year at 1-11. So, however you look at it, even if they only make a bowl game, that would be an excellent year for Colorado. He is coming in here with the lowest of expectation, and so any type of victory is a good victory. And this one, whenever this team went to the championship in a miracle season, is an excellent victory to start with. But we'll have to see if they can maintain it. And that's what it comes down to, is maintaining greatness. And as we saw with LSU, I am an LSU fan, so I'm going to talk about LSU before we get to our matchup. You already know where I stand on that. As we talk about this, we also have to talk about maintaining greatness whenever it comes to LSU, and we just haven't. In football, we haven't. We played great against other teams, right? But in the games that we should win, but that we need to win, we never actually pull those off. Anyway, let's get back into this. Kentucky beat Ball State, like everyone thought. That game is also close. A lot of these games are closer than I thought they would be. I thought the spread would be higher on a lot of these. Michigan beat East Carolina. Go Wolves. Michigan did take care of business. I'm very happy for that. At least one of my teams did. Let me go ahead and angle this over here so you guys can hear me better. Tennessee beat Virginia. And this one was not a close game by any stretch of the imagination. Tennessee and Mr. Milton is coming out strong. Iowa beat Utah State, as expected. This was not a top 25 team playing Utah State, though. This was way too close. And to say it was at home is even worse. Air Force beat Robert Morris. This is also to be expected. Air Force isn't horrible. And Robert Morris is, not an FBS team. So, Iowa State beat Northern Iowa. I'm not going to elaborate much more on that. Jacksonville State beat ETSU. Again, not going to elaborate much on that. I don't even think I predicted that one. Ohio beat Long Island. Again, not going to elaborate much on that. I also don't think I predicted that one. I may have. Yeah, I probably did. And I probably predicted it for Ohio. Temple beat Akron at home. Pretty understandable there. Ole Miss ground Mercer and destroyed their season. In that moment, they became a meme. Anyway, Ole Miss just absolutely ground them into the dust. And Oregon ground Portland State into the dust. I don't know why these colleges felt like doing that. They just kept going on these weak teams. Appalachian State actually struggled a lot with Gardner-Webb. And Auburn beat UMass, understandable. Ohio State beat Indiana. This was a lot closer than it should have been. And this shows that Ohio State is probably not that great this season either. Notre Dame did what they needed to do. Pittsburgh did what they needed to do. Cincinnati just did what they needed to do. Maryland did what they needed to do. Texas, they did what they needed to do. A lot of these teams up here just had pretty easy games, and they just needed to come out and show up, and they did. And these teams won in those situations. Washington did beat Boise State, but it was full of possible failures, and it was not easy. Western Kentucky beat South Florida. I was surprised by that. Mississippi State beat Southeastern Louisiana. It was not by as much as I thought that game would be, but it was pretty good. Syracuse beat Colgate. That's an interesting one. Again, I understand. I predicted Syracuse to beat them, but I don't think it was as close as I thought it would be. Arkansas beat Western Carolina, not surprising. UNLV beat Bryant, not surprising. Cal beat North Texas. Yeah, I think I predicted that too. Florida Atlantic beat Monmouth. Georgia Southern beat the Citadel. Anybody remember when before the Citadel played Alabama? Nobody knew who they were. Now we know they're in South Carolina. Alrighty. James Madison beat Bucknell, unsurprisingly. Albany lost to Marshall, unsurprisingly. UT Martin lost to Georgia, unsurprisingly. But unlike all these other asshole coaches out there at Oregon, Georgia actually beat them by a respectable score. Charlotte beat South Carolina State. Pretty interesting. Florida International beat Maine. Understandable. USC beat Nevada. I didn't even watch that game. Bro, why is TJ Finley at Texas State? And why did Baylor have 3 different QBs in? Must have gotten injured or something. It's crazy. That's insane. Alrighty. Anywho, that's crazy. Washington State beat Colorado State. Yeah, get ready to hear that a lot this year, Colorado State. You're going to be pretty bad. Kansas State beat Southeastern Missouri State, unsurprising. Oklahoma State beat Central Arkansas, yep. Texas A&M beat New Mexico, yep. Troy beat Stephen F. Austin. Houston beat UTSA. UL Monroe beat Army, yep. Southern Mississippi beat Alcorn State, yep. Memphis beat Bethune-Cookman. Vandy beat Alabama A&M. Penn State beat West Virginia. That game was actually not as close as I thought it would be. Early on it was close, but later on it just kind of got away from them. Alabama beat Middle Tennessee. That's understandable. Illinois beat Toledo. Yeah, I think I went the other way on this one. Good for Illinois. Anyway, ULL beat Northwestern State. That's that small college in Louisiana. So, North Carolina beat South Carolina. Yep. Wyoming beat Texas Tech. Who the fuck would have thought that? That's crazy. Yeah, I saw that game's ending and I was like, what the fuck? Okay. Well, the Red Raiders, their hype is dead. Anyway, Tulane's hype grows stronger, even as LSU's depletes. They beat South Alabama in convincing fashion. Virginia Tech beat Old Dominion in a convincing fashion. New Mexico State beat Western Illinois. Good on you guys. You're not going to get a lot of winning this year, so good on you guys for that one. UTEP beat Incarnate. Makes sense. Arizona beats Northern Arizona. Again, makes sense. And a lot of these teams bitch about the US or about the SEC having weak schedules. Look at the schedule mix here. Not this one. This one was actually a good one. But yeah. Anyway, UCLA did what they did against Coastal Carolina. Ended their season early. Rutgers actually destroyed Northwestern, which shows Rutgers is not the bottom of the Big Ten this year. Probably will be Northwestern. San Diego State beat Idaho State. BYU beat Sam Houston. And then Florida State beat LSU. And as you guys are seeing, this game hasn't happened yet, but I think we all know what's going to happen here. I don't see Duke winning this game. And if Duke actually does win this game, then Clemson has a lot of problems this year. Anyway, I think Clemson does that. I'm not going to, put it down for sure because I don't know. But I think that's what's going to happen there. Anyway, next week here. What in the world? There we go. Alrighty. Louisville, Indiana, Kansas, Fresno State. This is one of my interesting ones. Neither of these teams are going to be that great this year anyway, but this is one of my interesting ones for week 2 because I don't know which one of these is going to win. I'm going to go Wake Forest here. Boston College over Holy Cross, obviously. Utah beats Baylor. This is going to be one of my more interesting games of this season because a second week after that first week is definitely going to make the Nebraska team stronger, but it's a home game for Colorado. I think Colorado's able to fend off Nebraska in the second week. Kansas State, Troy. I think Kansas State's going to win that one. Another early game that's going to be a test, and based on first week performances, I think Notre Dame goes in there and punches NC State in the mouth. I think Notre Dame wins at North Carolina State. Ohio State beats Youngstown State, obviously. Penn State beats Delaware. Georgia beats Ball State. Army beats Delaware State. Virginia probably beats James Madison. Virginia Tech probably beats Purdue. Georgia Tech beats South Carolina State. Central Michigan beats New Hampshire. Bowling Green beats Eastern Illinois. Clemson beats Charleston Southern. BYU beats Southern Utah. Kentucky beats Eastern Kentucky. Why is this game so early this year? Iowa State is normally given much more attention than a week 2 clash. I'm going to give this to Iowa. It's going to be a close one. But neither of these teams have really shown me much of anything this season. A lot of teams haven't shown me much of anything, to be honest, including my own. Anyway, Michigan State. I think Northern Illinois probably beats Southern Illinois. Northwestern just lost in that abysmal game. So I'm going to give this one the UTEP. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Anywho, rest of week 2. Navy beats Wagner. All right. Syracuse beats Western Michigan. I still think Tulane is going to upset Ole Miss in week 2. I still think Miami is going to upset Texas A&M at home in week 2. Still think Michigan wins over UNLV. Think UMass wins at home over Miami of Ohio. Toledo beats Texas Southern. Texas State came out surprising this season and beat Baylor, so I think they should beat UTSA. East Carolina at home probably beats Marshall. San Jose State wins that match. Arkansas wins this one. Wyoming wins this one. Either that or Portland State's going to come out with anger after getting fucking absolutely obliterated in week 1. Because that's the only thing that can be said for Portland State in week 1. They got it destroyed by Oregon. Anywho, South Alabama is Southeastern. I'm going to go South Alabama. I'm going to go Tennessee over Austin Peay. Washington over Tulsa. North Carolina over Appalachian State. I think that one's going to be close. Appalachian State is always one of those teams that can upset a Power 5 team for sure. Duke probably beats Lafayette. Should beat Lafayette anyway. Florida Atlantic, Ohio. I think Ohio goes on the road and beats them. UAB probably beats Georgia Southern on the road. Liberty probably beats New Mexico State. ULL beats Old Dominion. Oklahoma beats SMU. Buffalo beats Fordham. Akron beats Morgan State. West Virginia beats Duquesne. FIU probably beats North Texas. I think Cincinnati goes on the road in one of the best games of the week and beats Pitt. Upsets Pitt. Really sets a strong turn for Cincinnati. Anywho, Memphis beats Arkansas State. UCF probably goes on the road, beats Boise State, but that's going to be a damn good game, and I can't wait for it. Coastal Carolina beats Jacksonville State, I'm thinking. UConn probably wins this one over Georgia State. I think they could. Louisiana Tech beats Northwestern State. Missouri beats Middle Tennessee. Houston beats Rice. Oregon beats Texas Tech. Based on how these two teams played in week 1, Alabama still wins at home. Sorry. Idaho beats Nevada. South Florida beats Florida A&M. Western Kentucky beats Houston Christian. LSU gets a bounce-back victory, which is hard to say, against Grambling. Mississippi State probably beats Arizona. I think Rutgers, after what they did this week, could beat Temple. South Carolina beats Furman. UCLA beats San Diego. Florida beats McNeese. Maryland beats Charlotte. Minnesota beats East Michigan. Washington State beats Wisconsin. Air Force beats Sam Houston. TCU beats Nicholls. UL Monroe. If TCU struggles with Nicholls, it's going to indicate a lot of where their season's going to go. It really will. It will be a teller for where their season goes. Anyway, New Mexico probably beats Tennessee Tech. Utah State beats Idaho State. Florida State probably beats Southern Mississippi, continuing to push them up in the polls. Oregon State probably beats UC Davis. Oklahoma State goes into Arizona State and probably wins that. Auburn on the road at Cal probably wins that. USC at home probably wins over Stanford. And Hawaii, to round out the weekend, probably beats Albany. So LSU will be saddeningly in the 1-1 category at this point in the season. With their only win being over Grambling. But I think that's going to change. I hope we click very soon, and I hope it changes what our team is able to do. But these teams are going to be interesting, and there will be some interesting games anyway, so I'm always up for, some football. Anyway, hopefully you all did enjoy. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.